We made it. Here we are. It is Seraphim Source. I'm Stephanie Lodge. This is Alexander Mazzone. Welcome back. It's been a while. How have you
We
been?
did it.
How have you been,
Remember?
Alexander?
This is a show.
I know. You would think we'd have a regular schedule, but no. And this is why we love you.
No, that's what I was telling them the other day. It's just two massive energies. So you get what you get here at Seraphim Source.
Yes. When we are processing what we process, it's a lot. So welcome, everybody. I see so many beautiful souls here in the Seraphim Lounge. Oh, my goodness. Seraphim Sanctuary on fire. How's everybody? All right, I want to introduce something. And I think, Alexander, you know what this is. But we're just going to let the ones playing at home share with us. What is your AQ, your angelic quotient, your angelic frequency, 1 to 10? If you had to say, we're going to just like take a little measurement before the show. So when we're done lighting you up, that's our goal at least, we'll see how you do at the end. So 1 to 10, 10 being high, 1 being like, I'd rather not be on the planet, 5 being somewhere where I'm managing, it could be better, but I'm here and I'm happy about that. 7 is like, no, things are good. I'm doing my business. 8, 9 and up, you're really kind of in flow. You're doing your meditations. You're taking care of yourself, self-love, all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Throw up some numbers. I know some of my crowd knows what this means. They know where they're at usually. So hi, Jeanette. Thanks for coming in with her 8. So yeah, let's see what the numbers are. And AQ again is just frequency, vibration, your angelic intelligence. The true AI is angelic.
Mary.
Hi, Mary. She's coming in with a 7.5. 7.5. Well, that's a fair number. 7.7 might have been interesting because we are in the Seraphim. But we'll take 7.5. Got some 8s, some 7s, beautiful. And again, don't be shy. If you're a 2 and a 3, you're like, things are crappy, I'm not happy. It's all good. Be authentic, be yourself. So we're going to just kind of see those rolling in and monitoring that. So Alexander.
Yes.
Let's talk about this eclipse gate. This gate, that was quite the gate. When was the first eclipse now? Was this a week ago or 2 weeks ago? I can't even remember. That's how time is so...
Oh, my God.
The one that was in South America.
November 19th.
Do you remember? I don't even remember.
It was November 19th. Yes, I remember very well. Yeah, no. Spirit was all...
No, the one that just happened. Not yesterday's, but the one like was a week ago.
Oh.
Does anyone know?
Was that lunar or that was solar, wasn't it?
No, it was a lunar. Well, it was a lunar eclipse. Yeah, we're talking about a lunar eclipse.
Oh, but it wasn't a full moon one, though.
No.
That's what. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I didn't pay attention to that one.
Yeah. It wasn't here either. The South America crew got it, but we didn't really see it. We just got to feel it, which is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is this? We had these 2 eclipses this month so far. Well, I guess it'll be the only 2, right?
Yeah, for me, the connection's really to November 19th, the architect moon. All the information that was coming in as early as like the first week of October, what Spirit was communicating with me, part of the crew that I run over on Patreon. And, some missions that we all had to get done, which was synchronistically on November 19th. So that was, for me, what this was the completion of, which I had no idea. I did the weekly reading on Saturday, and I was just looking at how it said there was a party, like we were going to celebrate, like we were celebrating basically the completion of something. And it had the Lover's card and it had the Devil card. And not that the Devil was actually representing the Devil. It was representing a distortion of the Lover's card. If you look at it, they're both connected to the number 6. 1 being 15, 1 plus 5 being 6, and the Lover's being 6. But Spirit kind of like popped in really quick and said, oh, this is related to what was initiated on November 19th. So then I go and I just like intuitively was like, wait a minute, let me see, what sign is this eclipse in? And then I see Scorpio. So I thought that was fantastic because November 19th is during the time of Scorpio, and now we're during the time of Aries, but the eclipse was taking place because the full moon was in Scorpio. So I found that very interesting, to say the least, because it's basically the way Spirit explained it to me was November 19th was the day that we were like, okay, it's been fun. Not really, but pack up your bags. You got to go. You got to go. And from November 19th to just yesterday, and I'm sure everybody slept really great last night. Okay. From November 19th to yesterday was kind of like we bought a fixer-upper, a.k.a. the moon, and we were doing renovations. That's the way I'd like to look at it. And now it's that's our space. That's our place. That's our space. It's our time. It's our time down here. A little Goonies reference for you. So, Nima. Sorry. They used to say I have ADD. I don't believe it. But anyways.
Angelic distraction. That's all.
I just see people I love in the chat. And I love all of you, by the way. But, you know. It's Nima. It's Nima. I love him.
Well, this is interesting you're saying that because, first of all, what I find interesting is November 19th was my former husband's birthday. And then my birthday is November 1st. So I'm a November Scorpio baby, unless I'm bad.
111. Oh, wait. No. Yeah, 111. 111-1.
11-1. Yeah.
Yeah, but on the other side of the world, they do it backwards. It's 111.
Yeah, I know, right? Either way.
Or we do it backwards.
11-1, 111.
Not picking sides, Germany.
3 1s. That's what I know, the triple one. So what's interesting is this was Scorpio moon, and I have a Scorpio sun.
Yep.
And I have an Aries moon. So we're dealing with the Aries energy. But so it was interesting for me. I found for myself, I was with a group last night watching a new film called A Tear in the Sky, which I highly recommend to everybody. Carolyn Corey's new film. It is all about proving UFO activity. It's pretty awesome.
Nice.
So we were with that group, and Corey Feldman showed up. It was so random, and all these other people. And I thought, okay, there must be some reason I'm here other than just to watch this film, even though it's great, because of course it's the eclipse. So we all go to this roof to watch the eclipse. I said, okay, let me run some language, light language, and do some harmonics and set new intentions. And what I found going on was we were taking advantage of the, it going full on black, like a soft reboot, right? But what felt different about this one, there was a finality to it. It was almost like this disentangling of the energies that just said, and that is done now. Yes. And it was really beautiful because
so it was really the final battle is what I got.
I mean, I think it's the final Klingons, not to go Star Trek, but like just those sandbags that weigh us down, like we really are letting them go, whether those are people, things, attachments, all that.
Woo.
And that way the air balloon can go higher, right? I've been using this analogy lately. And I really feel that now we get to decide, what are you holding on to in your air balloon? What is the most precious wisdom that you've collected over your lifetime to really carry into the new version? And Alexander, adding the Ander, credit. So this is interesting. How have you been feeling about the idea of, well, okay, no, not that. What have you been experiencing in tech? Because for me, because I've been getting ready for Angelic Summit. Yeah, the tech. Like, I've been seeing so many things going on in tech where I post up a new cover photo on my Facebook, and then I go back, it's the old one. I'm like, wait a second, I know I changed this because I had to do 2 things to make it there, and it's just not there.
It's been a couple things a day. It's been a couple things a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple things a day.
So,
and it's interesting because I don't know if this is just where we happen to be in reality right now, because I have to be kind of really down in the dumps for Mercury retrograde to affect me or to even notice it. Like I consider myself the type, I'll just sign a contract. I'm not checking what day it is. I'll do what I want, when I want, whenever I want. But this Mercury retrograde has been noticeable. That's the word. That's the word. I don't want to empower it.
No, we did a whole.
I'm speaking about it, but I noticed it this time, and I normally don't notice it.
Yeah, I did a whole boycott. I put it up in the angelhood.com and I just went, Mercury, no, I don't want to buy into that map of consciousness
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
And it's just a letting go of all of that in a way
All
and
of it.
creating truly sovereign stations. Like, this is my station. This is what I'm tuned into.
Yeah.
Everything else is static that I'm not interested in. Right.
Yeah.
And the other thing I want to share with you, which I kind of touched in, I think, privately with you, 2 weeks ago, huge clearing I did with a girlfriend of mine on the templates. And these templates were genocide templates, like the Cherokee, the Nazi template, like all this stuff, right? And even current stuff coming in. And what I was really surprised by was the connection to the Palladian, the original Palladian insert of just all the stuff that happened on this planet from our origins.
Yeah.
And because I asked, like, where does this trace back to? And it really traced back to this, I want to say, like, a little bit of like shame or guilt, a little bit of just like, oh boy, we screwed up, right?
Yeah.
And so they're like being responsible to clean up the joint a little bit with us. And then what was interesting is the Cherokee have a connection of Palladians, which I didn't know at the time when I was getting this download or upload or sideload. And what was interesting is when I went and looked it up, they think they came from the Pleiades. I went, oh, cool, good to know. And it was really deep because it was going into my own DNA, which is connected to the Cherokee Nation. And I was feeling this liberation of just such tremendous shame, heartache, grief, but mostly about forgiveness of self and forgiveness of all of these elements, right?
Yeah.
And almost
a lot of release.
What?
It's been like weeks of preparing for the release.
Yeah.
With everybody.
Yep.
Like even in like, you know, there's always a theme in my sessions. Like oddly enough, like the first time I ever talked to somebody who worked for Amazon, like an Amazon Prime worker, and I know if you're watching this right now, you know who I'm talking about. They were right back to back in the same day. Like I never talked to somebody who worked for Amazon Prime, and it was like, here's my 10 o'clock session, and then here's my 12 o'clock session. I was just like, how is this even possible? But that's like always been the general theme is like, oh, this childhood issue or this, you know, kicking alcohol or drug thing or this thing. It would be like 3-4 people a week or over the course of 2 weeks. Or I'm hearing all the guys say the same thing. I'm hearing all the women say the same thing. And there's always like a general theme. And I don't know if that's happening more for me because Spirit wants me to speak about it and say like, maybe we're all processing this because I'm noticing it in a fashion where it's obviously a pattern, you know? So just speaking about the patterns in general, but I think a lot of times it's what we're all going through. But the pattern that I've been going through and people in the group and friends and family members and everybody I'm speaking to, like you said, release all day. And it was like the more I released, it was like the more I was presented with. It was like, oh, you want to release stuff? You released a lot. Here's Pandora's box. And I was like, but isn't that, it's bad. Like, what do I, and I was like, whatever. I ripped the ribbon off of it. Cause it's like just more to release. Like there's, as we release stuff, it's almost like you're uncovering or unveiling or unburying what's really down there. And we can't take that stuff with us when we go. And for sure, we can't take it with us when we go, but, and I don't mean death, I mean to the next place. Mm-hmm. Like it's actually like chains and weights and you can't, for me, I feel like I wouldn't be able to get to the next dimensional standpoint if I don't release the crap and the baggage from the last one, is what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm not talking about you can't take your money with you when you die. Like it's not, I didn't mean it like that because people hear when you go and it's what their brain goes. Yeah. I mean, as we continue to go and go and go and move upward and onward, and as we, continue to escape this, this field of what is most likely illusion. I feel there's going to be things that you have, Spirit's going to ask you to release. That's the nicest, most loving way I can say it.
Yeah, and I feel like when you're saying that, I hear a lot of people in the room going, "Oh my God, when is that ever going to be over? Like, how much do I have to release? Like, how long is this going to go on? I feel like I've been
All of it.
releasing for ages, right?" It's almost like that. And what I'm going to say to you is, you get to decide when you're done. You get to decide, I'm going to let that go now, right? And when it comes back in, it's like, nope, sorry, you don't have access to the club, right? You don't have the passport to get over that border, right?
Yeah.
That's where we're at now, because what I was also getting in the last few weeks was, building up to Angelic Summit, which is this weekend, was just a sense of, and I know you and I talked about this, of like, where's the support, and it was just weird because I went through my own like small death of who hugs the hug angel, and I know you and
And
I
as you
share
were
that
going through
because it's like,
that, I was literally saying, "Where's Alexander's Alexander?" That was
right,
like literally my
yeah,
whole thing last week as I kept releasing and kept releasing. And this is not, please send me an email and say, I will be your Alexander. Please do not get this twisted in your mind at your home right now, with
no,
all due
yeah,
respect and love. But I was just saying, where's my me? Where's
right,
my Alexander? Because people call me and they come in and they boom, 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 boom. And when it comes down to it, it's like, I need to be like, that's the person I want to call. My Connie, my this person, my that person. And it's like, I go through my phone. And it was very odd. It's like many people either were just done or they didn't make the jump. And what do I mean by that is, like, for me to love somebody so much, and no offense if I don't have your photo stored in my phone, for me to love somebody so much and they're so important to me that I actually store a picture of me and them in my phone, is what I'm speaking of. And I go through and it's like 1/3 of these pictures I go by and it's like, yeah, maybe they were older generations, but I'm like, they're not with me anymore. They're not with me anymore. They're not with me anymore. Jackie, what is even happening? Ginzo, I was just thinking of you yesterday and the day before and the day before that. I hope you're just thriving, sister. Yeah.
yeah. I
But
mean,
yeah, I mean no disrespect by that. I'm saying people look at me as this big, powerful, unstoppable force. And I appreciate that because you make me more powerful when you have that belief structure. But in the moments of needing that, and like there was one last week, just like as you were saying, I had the same thing. Like you were saying, who hugs the hug angel? That's exactly what I was getting. It was just like, where's my, I call the person and they buck an arrow and I actually feel something, Because and I mean that with all due respect. I'm not trying to
well, I
ruffle
think
others
what
that
it
want
is
to be my
though,
savior. Just I'm not looking for a savior. I'm
right?
just I'm saying in
No.
general. I'm talking about the process. So there's a certain vulnerability here. I'm not looking for somebody to try to fill a void. Is all I'm saying, because there's no void there.
Well, no, I think this is the thing. We
Yeah.
have to be willing to recognize, that sometimes certain people in certain frequency levels are going through the same stuff that we're going through, so they're not reachable. Like if you had reached out to me, which you have done, right?
Yep.
I would have not been in the space to hold space for you because I was in the same
Exactly.
boat as you. Because a lot of times you're in
Exactly.
common frequency, and that's what I'm talking about. It's like everybody
Yeah.
was in the same. Let's just call it what it is, shit show. I'm just
Yeah.
going to use that. And I was feeling that because, again, working with 12 massive light leaders for the summit, and I was feeling all of them just dropping, like drop. I'm like, where's everybody? I'm like on the front lines going, hi,
Yeah.
Michael. Hi, Raphael. Hi, everybody. And I'm like, are we ready? And I turn around and there's no one. It's like 4 people. I'm like, where's the Legion? Like, where's everybody? And it was freaky.
That last week though was a doozy.
Oh, yeah. But this is what I realized. When I finally checked in with you, just yesterday, the day before, what was
Love you,
interesting
Jeannie.
what was interesting is my base angelic genome, one of my keys of the angelic gene keys versus the other kind, is the warrior of light. And I
Yep.
realized, oh, I get to switch stations now and just go more to the universal protector a little bit of the guardian versus this warrior energy. Because you said there's no more war. I said that's true. So then what am I? It was
Yep.
like, then what's my role now? So it's almost like, oh, we're just going to go in and celebrate. So the summit
Yeah.
became more of a celebration, which is what was really clarifying for me. So I want to thank you for that, because
Yeah, of
sometimes
course.
we're like, we got to
I
breathe,
didn't,
got to do all
I
this
didn't
stuff,
know.
and we're like, no, we just got to show up and have a good time.
I wouldn't have known even just a couple weeks ago, Stephanie. I remember just spirit telling me, like, just days before the cosmic awakening, that like I'm seeing all these signs, which is all very much so validated. I don't know if people saw, if you went to Cosmic Awakening and you saw me speak and you saw Doctor Strange 2, what even am I? I don't know. Just out of this world synchronicity to my presentation. I swear I did not know what that was going to be about. That was just pure full-blown synchronicity. But the moral of the story is, when I made it to this magical place that literally physically exists here in Sedona, I was just like tuning in. I was just like, this isn't possible. Like there's like certain things I've been manifesting. Like, I think we all need to co-create. It's stupid. I mean, it's not stupid. It's a little silly, but I want purple potato tater tots. I just want to look in the refrigerator, and I know, Stephanie, this is how we create.
I'm not laughing at you. I think it's cute.
People say, what are we co-creating this week? And I'm like, purple tater tots. Mm-hmm. Low glycemic index. I'm sorry. Anyways.
Yeah.
I was manifesting for years since I got here, but maybe I could feel it. I was manifesting a beach in Sedona. I said, there has to be somewhere where this sand, because I find the red sand and I find the water. I said, there has to be somewhere where the red sand is shooting into the water. I found it. Mm-hmm. And while I'm there, I was just like tuning in. I was just like, this is too beautiful. This is too perfect. This is too awesome, which is like all self-worth stuff in itself. Like that, I'm like, this is too good. Like, where's that coming from, Alexander? But anyways, back to the story. I was like, where are we? Are we in 7? Like, because I knew we were in 6. And then all of a sudden, like, I get 9. And I'm like, 9. I was just all like, yippee! Like, it was like as I was jumping in the air to say yippee, my angelic, Pleiadian, whatever you want to call it, they come in, they're like, yeah, but, and I'm like, wait, what? And they're like, well, 9 is war. Because if 6 is defense of the ego, defense of the self and the shadow element, and I know you're not really into the dimensional standpoints as much as I am, Stephanie, but what I'll say is the 6 and the 9 are reversals, and 1 is night and 1 is light, and they're 2 aspects of the self. But 9 is where a lot of people agree, the warrior angels, the archangels, the seraphim, like the Amazons, like a lot of powerful frequencies exist there, but most of them carry a shield, a sword, or a spear. So, like basically what Spirit said to me is like, the only reason you're in 9 and not 11, 13 or somewhere higher is because you were so focused on the war. And that's the message that I was giving Stephanie and just like sharing from my own life. And that's the conversation we had that day that you're speaking of, was like, I have to release all this stuff. I mean, we also have the connection to warrior and warrior, which is to worry, to actually be fretting about something. And like these words are pronounced the same also. So there's obviously some sort of connection there, because you go back to Latin and that there wasn't so many things that were so similar that all like fractaled off. These are all probably from the same words if I had to imagine. But what I'm getting at is this. It's up to us to do the work to then call ourselves out on our own process. I can't imagine anything worse than the purgatory of somebody thinking that they've just completely reached mastery and they don't realize that they're sitting in the middle of a gigantic plateau, that they just continue to walk out into this endless void of, I can see the horizon, I must be there. There's always more work to do, and I'm always seeing people shift at the same time as me, especially with like the synchronicities with Brother Rion to the day, even when we weren't even friends yet, like just certain people like saying things. I mean, even Susie, I'm probably going to say her last name wrong, but Susie Bellier, I saw her at Natural Grocers like all those years ago. That was when I first really started doing the etymology work. And I go up to her and I'm just like, I just looked up on my phone. It was the first word I did, apocalypse. And apocalypse said a mass awakening. And I said to her, I go, oh, we got to do something. If you go way back on my Facebook, you'll see I did a video with her and Max. And like we were both talking about this because we had this moment at the store, like, what the heck? Like, how have I never heard about this? But we both found it in our own ways. And it wasn't like on a meme. It was something that we just did the work ourselves because spirit was chirping in our ear. So one second. As we get to the next place and the next place and the next place, and Cheryl's here in the chat. Me and Cheryl were just talking about this today. The belief structure that we had before, you can very quickly be called out on it by a loving friend that just goes, well, have you ever looked at it like this? Or, oh, I used to think that, but then I figured this out. Or we can just get to a certain point ourselves and just be like, wait a minute, where does this go when I do this? You know? Because it's those situations that get us to look at things differently. Mm-hmm. When we ask those questions, and this is why I prefer to tune in on multiple versions of myself, if not all of them, because this is how I learn the best. Is if I just always ask my angel, I'm just always going to get that answer. But if I ask my angel and my dragon, for example, I can say, why do you say yes? And why do you say no? And this gives us the ability to learn about our soul, to learn about our past lifetimes, to learn about our power, and to learn about the self, and to learn about the all. When we just only get answers from one place, and I'm not saying to get answers to something evil. That is not what I'm saying. I don't even know if any of that even exists, to be honest with you, or if those are just other distortions of other people in their reality field, because even the word demon, just with etymology, didn't even exist. It used to be daemon, D-A-E-M-O-N, which meant a lesser deity or guiding spirit. A deity is a god with a little g. So it's like the words got really manipulated. And even this word apocalypse, it was about ascension. Now it's about the end of the world. Like a lot of these words got messed up and got certain things hidden, and certain things have just been kind of swept under the rug. I know some of your crew isn't really into the word etymology because they think it's witchcraft, but I can promise you, if you're hearing this message, the finer you fine-tune the spell that is coming out of your mouth, the more you will control this reality around you. And there's nothing evil about you controlling your reality so you can help others and create more jobs and bring in more abundance that goes to more charitable work. So even the word weird, Sherry, I don't know if Sherry's here. I couldn't remember when I went live last time who sent it to me, but you go look right now. Go say etymology of the word weird. The word weird means to be able to control your fate. So all these people that have been calling us weird this whole time, and Jackie, yes, I'm talking to you if you're still in the chat. All these people have been calling us weird for years, and that's weird. This is weird. That's weird. Okay, yeah, thank you. Thank you for giving me the power to control my fate, because I've noticed it, and it's just noticeable. I'm not saying any of this to brag. I'm saying all this because it's like humanity. Copy paste from the people that maybe you believe are walking in front of you, when we should all be walking side by side, and we should all be working together, and we should all be lifting each other up. You know, there's these old belief structures of to be lifted up, you got to knock somebody down, and then that's not the case. If two people on the planet just keep saying they're at the highest point of ascension, I'm at the highest point of ascension, and then Stephanie does it, I'm at the highest point of ascension, I'm at the highest point, I'm at the highest point, and all of humanity continues to go up. Because it's not this like, no, you're not, because I am. Like, and that's the old way of how it was. And that's why there's this basically limitless possibilities where we are now. And it's just going to become more and more and more as we continue to program the children less and less and less from all these distortions from, some of them are from thousands and thousands of years ago. Some of them are from dad. Some of them are from your guidance counselor, your football coach, or your ballet instructor. You are the one who is the judge, jury, and executioner of your mind, and you are the one that has to find the bull crap that's coming out of your mouth, my family. And if that's intense, then so be it. I'll drink to that.
Can I interject now?
Absolutely. Take the floor. I'm done.
I had dogs barking over here, so I muted myself because I had to listen to them howl. So it was good. It was good that you were streaming because my dogs were whooing. Well, what's interesting is, what I really am finding for all of us is that we're having to take accountability for our own stuff. We're having to really stop waiting for saviors of any kind, waiting for anybody to fix it for us. We're the ones here, right? We know this. And I would say that the languaging that you and I are different, but it's used are different. I say formulas instead of spells. Like it's the same stuff. It's just for me, I take anything that could have a charge off of it because some people have charges on things. They just get attached to certain things, And I remember one of the controversies I brought up last week in my group and the halo that came through as I was channeling Yeshua is that, he said the word Jesus is no longer applicable to the system. Like it's just not going to be, it's impotent basically in the system. And I was just like, what is this going to mean? For people who go, Lord Jesus, help me, He said, no, the words, he's like, the prayers are always heard. The entire mind of God is always here and present and you're counted. It's not even about that. It's just what I realized what was coming through was the idea that Jesus, which means the Hail Zeus, which I think and we've talked about maybe, is really now, once again, it's an insert of an artificial paradise. And what was really interesting is when this came in, it was on the key the day before my genome key, which was the angelic genome key of 44, which is the warrior of light. On the day before, we were clearing the inversions of artificial paradise. Artificial, right? Yep. So this inversion in that key of 43 was really interesting because that was when this download came in. And I thought, wait a second. So here we are funneling this current through the word Jesus and siphoning all this energy of believers into what? And it's going into the Apollo framework, Abaddon and Baal, basically. I'm like, oh, that's lovely. So I think this is where we get to say no more. This is where we get to say the lies, the deceit, and whatever that has been coming in it's all transparent. It's all revealed to us now. The violet earth has done its job. It's like, here you go. Here's more truth, more truth, more truth, more truth.
Yep.
And at some point we get to accept that. At some point we get to go, yeah, okay, that sounds reasonable enough. And we decide what is true for us. What is true for you and what is true for me might place us on a slightly different station, as I call it, and everybody else in this room. It's okay. We don't all have to be huddled into one little space. It's like,
no, it's better if we're not.
Right. So I don't have any attachment to whether people believe that concept of use Yeshua, because that's the real deal, versus Jesus. They can do whatever they want. I just know for myself, Yeshua feels at a frequency level higher vibratory. Even has the word yes in it, which I love. But for me, when I tone with it and when I speak through it, and I'm not coming from a Christian with it, that's not my jam. It's just the bona fide angelic frequency that it is what I'm interested in. And it's a master key to the angelic genome of the planet, from what I understand now. And what I want to share is that if you imagine the 5D, as people call it, I call it Diamond Earth, but the 5D version is always there and always has been there. It's been an insert to keep us in this kind of like Truman Show illusion, as many of us know, what people call the Matrix, right, of the 3D. And now more and more people are seeing beyond that veil, and it's breaking down. And the moon is part of that, right? The moon, the holographic projection of that, and all the stuff that goes with that potentially, however we want to.
Lunacy, lunatics.
Right, all of it. And I've talked about this too in my groups. It's just, think about all the women who they worship the moon or they do their circles by the moon, the Celtic pagan stuff by the moon, everything by the moon. And I'm thinking, why is that? And this is what
all the Hebrew stuff. Synagogue. No. Whenever we see SYN, sin, which is funny because we have like two fractions of.
Wait a second. Let me finish my thought. Hold on. And then we'll go to synagogue.
No, it's all good. Sorry.
So the women, right? The women who are really going into all that goddess energy and women's circles, moon circles, the womb and the moon and all this. Why is that? Because they're the birthing agents. And they're birthing agents not just from the standpoint of birthing children. I'm saying there's a lot that moves through the feminine frequency. And what better way than to keep the planet in a quarantine lockdown system than to keep the birthing agents cycling through that same lunar, versus solar. And so that part of it too is breaking down. And I think it's really a difficult one for people to let go because there's so much. I love the moon, and they put their crystals out to the moon and all this stuff with the moon. And that's fine, but it must be in the awareness of what it actually is. And that is the piece that needs to be, I think, coming more and more to the forefront.
Absolutely.
And it's going to challenge, and it's going to be controversial perhaps for many. But anyway, go ahead. So synagogue, back to you, Bob.
Yeah. Well, just the word sin, like, Christianity says, live a life free from sin. And it's like, and when I find the word sin back in the day, it's moon, S-Y-N. And this is why it's called the synagogue, is all I was going to add. But Stephanie, it's so like, there's such a divide. Like you said, we got people going outside, and I was one of them, and I still am, charging up the crystals in the moonlight when it feels like a good moonlight. You do not just charge your crystals every time. Sometimes the energy is, but, and then you have all these other people that are like, well, what do they do? Why are they charging their crystals? There's a bunch of reptilians inside the moon. And then you got these people saying, oh, well, this is going on over there. So it's just like, the divide is so freaking wide. Like, it's people will argue, is this blue green or green blue? Like, no, this is like very, very much so an unagreeable phenomena for me. So it's just like, what if those belief structures, because like, it's like, once again, like, yeah, I'm going to nerd out here with you, family. The belief structures in the Marvel comic book universe, not the Marvel cinematic universe, at least yet, is the way that gods attain energy is by them being prayed to. Mm-hmm. So when they are prayed to, more energy appears for them to live longer, to thrive more, to have this, to have that. And then when they have children, they're like, this is my boy. So they're like, people are like, oh, well, that must be a god too. And like, one of the best like loopholes where I found this is actually with Loki. Like, if Loki in these stories wasn't actually Odin's son, but he was considered Odin's son, did that just make him become a god because so much god energy goes to Odin and so many people are praying to him? Like, that's just kind of like rolled down the hill. Well, because it's people's belief structures. So it's like, this is why I look at all the archetypal stuff, all of that, because it's like, we almost can't have anybody thinking that there's negative beings inside the moon anymore. We can't have it. Like, we gotta like whatever, go that way and think about fear, because we don't have room for that. And that's part of the reason for the missions that we've been doing. And I know what I get, and I know what I got, and I know what I got when I was completely put under by a hypnotist. And I said that before I heard anybody say it, and I got a time date stamp on it on 3 cell phones ago. I could show anybody that doesn't believe me. I have, like, how would I put a memo, voice memo, into an old phone with a fake date? Like, I'm not going to hack to persuade people. But like, whatever it was, Cosmic Disclosure wasn't even a show yet. And as I was watching that on Gaia with Brother Rion, I was just like, what the heck? Like, this is the exact stuff I was talking about. But the main gist that I got through that hypnosis was we all got to work together. And I saw us all coming together as a wolf pack or a pride of lions or whatever you want to picture us as a bunch of angels. How it looks for me is not necessarily how it has to look for you. And what you see in your dream time is could give me the same message that you received through your dream, when we both see totally different things. One person sees a piece of fruit, one person sees a puppy. Yeah. And it's
and
this
it
is how
this
works. What is it?
I mean, it depends on the mission of the individual, right? So for me, it's all about unlocking the angels from their bindings, right? For me, it's all about liberating, activating angelics, right? So, and ascending them. So meaning, get them higher vibrationally. And so I'm always going to see, well, what's holding us back from that, right? And find where the stuff is, that's still the sticky, right? But I agree with you. I think what I feel really is going on is we're releasing all these maps of consciousness as we talk about them. And the moon is an authority that people sometimes give their power to, or the sun, or anything. and what we give our authority away to is really important to look at, because for me, my only authority is the creator of what I am, right? So that's where I think.
Did you say crater?
The creator.
Creator. Okay, I was gonna say, I was like, that was an odd word. No. I never heard you use.
No, not the creator. But what's interesting when you said the praying to, what I got many weeks ago now, I was in a group and Spirit came in and said, understand the word pray has two levels.
Yeah.
Again, there's the inverted states. The inversion would be to be prayed upon.
Yeah.
So it speaks to what you're saying when we're constantly praying to God as a God, or we're praying to, I mean, think about all the Vedic gods and all the different stuff, or angels or any of that. And I've been the one many times in the past, it was controversial because I kept saying, stop giving your power to Archangel Michael or Gabriel or any of these guys as these external beings. Like, manifest the understanding that you have that angelic nature within you. And that was controversial when I brought that on the scene 15 years ago.
I'm right here to validate it with you, Stephanie.
I know you
Why would we have proof of Enoch, a human being, surpassing the level of archangels? Because this is actually a choir, and surpassing the archangels to become a seraphim. This is part of the story and the vernacular and the belief structures that certain beings on this planet, which are a dying breed, mind you, do not want you to know of this level of power. And this is stuff we read about and we're like, well, that's funny. This was a human being that became a seraphim. Okay. And it's just like, of course, yeah, we don't want to be praying to something that we're a multidimensional being and we're actually more powerful than it. When I looked at why I call in certain things and why certain versions of myself would be in the body on certain days, because you guys must know at some point in your lives, you've noticed, like, I went to bed feeling like this and I woke up like that. How come sometimes I go out and I'm driving to the store and I couldn't be bothered and I'm driving way back here, but then like the next day I'm kind of riding the person's butt in front of me and I'm energetically like, move! Like, what is this difference? And why do we have this when nothing actually took place to rattle us? Because sometimes I would see, like, I'm riled and I have no reason to be riled, or I'm protecting myself and I have no reason to do this. Like, why am I doing this? And like, we all in spirituality, or a lot of us, just, oh, well, I'm doing it and it's happening, so there must be a reason, which is beautiful and it's powerful and it helps with controlling the reality. And I'm not saying we shouldn't do that, but what I'm saying is I like to look and dissect and ask the question, why am I doing that? Why did I do that? Why is it one day I'm just like, oh, with no sunglasses on at Whole Foods, and then the next time I'm like, hood up, sunglasses on, headphones on, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, it's bothering me. Why are you talking to me? Can't you see I don't want to be talked to? So what is that? Yeah. Because sometimes it's like there isn't something.
There's a polarization, though, Alexander. Don't you think in that?
There is, but what I noticed by sitting with it was there's something going on another level where I'm not feeling safe and I'm feeling this or that, and certain versions of myself, like my Angelic's in here this day, this is in there this day, this is, oh, I got my bird being, I got this, I got whatever it is, and this is why I say, which I don't really hear anybody else saying this, I speak to this stuff, it gives me accurate information, but I still think that it's all distortions in the field. I still think it should all be pulled to center and integrated right here. And the reason why I'm not able to hold this is because there's too much crap that we're still releasing.
Well, it's integration.
And it's like, I got, boom, right back out. Boom, right back out. And it's just like, I don't see, like, Spirit's not like, they're doing it, look at them. And they're just like, oh, like multidimensionally. As I've been working on this stuff, and Stephanie, you've been here for this entire journey. You were one of the first people, if not that as I was speaking to you, like, my other versions were almost like playing with, like, can he pay attention in 2 dimensions at once? And you remember, like, that first year we met at the Hilton at the
Conscious Life
Expo. It's just like it's like all the events have one name in my brain now. I'm like,
I want to
Life Expo. It's like, no, bro. You got 3 events in one.
So really quick, Alexander, because I know you didn't want to go too long tonight. And I want to get to some of our questions from the people here because it's really about them, not us. because I know we could talk forever. Organic Intelligence asked a question, and I want to answer this actually for them, which is, what do you feel about the Bible speaking about us being higher than angels? Okay, so what I'm going to say is this. For me, and I can only speak for how I perceive it, is that angels are a frequency of consciousness. It's like saying quantum. Angelic is like saying quantum. So we are quantum beings. We are mastering our ability to accept our multidimensionality or quantum angelic nature, and integrating different elements of self that might be operating in other systems, which is what, when Alexander's talking about his other versions, right? They're in other systems, dimensions, densities, however you want to perceive that. It's not to me so much about what's higher and better or lower and less good and of us and them and all that, because then we're putting ourselves into like a split bipolar kind of personality, multiple personality framework, which isn't necessarily healthy while we're here. So in my perception, it's more about looking at ourselves as integrating all the angelic elements or angels, right, which represent these elements of consciousness. And we are processors. We're like supercomputers that can process these different levels of intelligence, and all of that intelligence is streaming through us at all times. It's just a matter of what's your bandwidth. Are you holding this many stations or this many? And can you weave them together, and can you cross-pollinate them? And how do you master the light that streams through you? And how do you communicate eloquently with that? And how do you get your message across clearly with that? And that is where I would say humans have an ability as quantum beings in this nature to really master way more, because we're in a form. So that's what makes us unique and different than if you were as an angelic up in the higher vibrational light fields, which would be a completely different experience. So it's not so much that I see it as like we're higher or better or lower. It's that we have potential here to create in a different way experiences in a tangible format, which makes it unique. The other thing I'll just say to that is, speaking to what Alexander was sharing about this idea of Enoch and ascension and going and becoming Seraphim and all these things, people have perceived me as a Seraphim, right? Just as Alexander recognizes himself and others have recognized him at that bandwidth because of the frequency that we're capable of accessing. But what I know and what I teach is that if you're running grief, if you're running fear, if you're running pain, or if you're running anger, you are not in your true power. Therefore, there's a block that you have to work through all of those elements to really get to the authentic, non-artificial version, right? Otherwise, you're running ego, you're running narcissism, you're running all this other kind of power for power's sake. Humble heart is what gets you through the gate to true source, in my opinion. Humility of knowing that I know nothing, what do I need to know? That energy is when you are a vessel and an empty grail that just receives the light of source and says, here you go, this is everything you need to know now. And it takes discernment, and it takes practice, and it takes patience and perseverance to get to those keys of access. I'm just going to say that. It takes a while. And in that, there's also an element of elevation and evolution that we're all going through. So just know that we're beautiful.
And shadow integration, as much as some of you people probably don't want to hear it.
Yeah, but it's
the only way I got to the word of seraphim and to the power of seraphim, and what is seraphim? Sera actually breaks down as serpent, and pheme is fire. So this is obviously talking about an angelic dragon or an angelic phoenix or something along the lines of that. To actually get to this stuff, I had to ask questions to myself. I had to ask, why are these things happening? Because every 3 out of 4 times, it was like, okay, this is a program from this person, that person. But then every once in a while, you get to that juice inside the berry, Stephanie. So,
yep.
Yeah, it's integration. And it's like, maybe people hear shadow integration and that scares their mind. But it's like, sometimes I feel like the people that are going to really get scared of that haven't done that work, and they can afford from it the most. And I just promise you, there's nothing scary there. You want to know why you're becoming these distortions in your own field. You want to know why you're being passive aggressive. You want to know why you're getting angry and losing your patience. And that is what shadow integration has done for me. So,
yeah. And it's important to be in the shadow integration. I think.
And you weren't into that for years. Like, you weren't into that for years, and then you were. It was like the dragons. Like, there were some times we would have conversations, and I wouldn't be into what you're talking about, and I am now. And the same thing. And this is why we need to have these conversations, and why these videos are so healing and powerful. And like, we need more of this, and maybe even more people somehow, if that's even possible. But to have these conversations, this is how we get to these points, because the only person that can really call you out on your BS, as I was saying earlier, is yourself. Like,
yeah.
I've been taught I need to be the judge, jury, and executioner of my mind, because the thoughts that I'm thinking, the things that are coming out of my mouth especially, are manifesting instantaneously in this new reality that I sit in speaking to you from.
Yeah. And this is the thing, you know, so many times when I look in the field, you know, and we're going to talk about this because we're running out of time here soon.
Yeah.
So Angelic Summit, you're going to be coming into Angelic Summit with me this coming weekend. And everybody, the link for that is down in the description on YouTube. Okay, so you can get your passes there. And they're on sale till tomorrow. So look for the code Peace Angel, and you can use that all caps and get your passes right away, because you want to be inside the summit. And the reason you want to be inside the sanctuary of the summit is because you'll get to chat with us, you'll get to engage with us, all the speakers, right? There's 12 additional speakers. I'm hosting it. But what's interesting about this is what you're sharing is everybody's going to have their angel angle, right? We all are going to have our perception based on our own personal experiences of things. And there's going to be master teachers of all kinds in the summit, and they're all going to have their specific expertise where they put in their 10,000 hours, if you will, if you guys know the book, The Outliers. But this is the thing. It doesn't make anybody right or wrong. It's just, oh, this works for me. I like this part. I'm going to add this into my little cosmic soup. Oh, this works for me. I'm going to add this. Oh, that part I'm going to take out, right? And you might upgrade certain things, and you might shift over to something else, and you're refining what is ultimately your belief system. And that is precious to you. That is your uniqueness. We're all unique, like a fingerprint, in my opinion. But these summits, what I find with them is they're highly alchemical. And when you set an intention to be in them, and that you're holding space inside of them in the container, what I call that halo, right? You're literally taking part in that alchemy, live in living color in person with us, or you can get it in the recordings. It's all quantum, as you know. But I would highly recommend doing that, because I feel everything that we've been going through, and for many, many months, has been leading up to this time. And the summit, when I'm called to do these summits, I'll be honest with you, not always my favorite thing to do. I can do them, but it's not always necessarily my highest joy, because it's a lot. It's a lot to put together. And
tiring.
To nail people down to schedules and this and that, it's a little like nailing.
Nail them down. Don't do that.
No, but it's like, my analogy is like nailing Jello to a tree, right? I like that one. But to get them to show up and do what they're supposed to. And so I'm like a mom going, okay, let's do this. Come on, you know. And that's not my genius work, but it is something I know that is required right now for us to come together. And when we come together like this, the reminder is this: you're bringing all your networks, because you have an entourage. You have all the hires that you manage and govern from your space. So it's a meeting of those minds and those hearts and their souls, and there's going to be a lot of data exchange. So the other thing I want to share is there's going to be a lounge where there's almost like Zoom rooms, like breakout rooms, but they're different. And you're going to get to meet other people based on topics. You can create your own lounges based on the topic you want to talk about, who jumps in with you. So the more the merrier. Invite your friends, get your pass. I just want to get that out there before we close, because it is an important gathering, and I'd love you all to be there with us. So definitely check it out. Yay! Yeah. Alexander, what do you want to say about the summit? Because you're going to tune in anyway, probably this week, and figure it out too. But what's coming in?
It's just more forging and folding the metal, and you know, sharpening the sword that I realize is a shield and never was a sword. But as more and more information comes in, like I was saying, if there's any naysaying whatsoever, look at the recorded date of what I talked at Cosmic Awakening. People saw the stars, like people saw this, whatever. I got my phone's free. I can actually show it. Let's just show it.
What are you talking about right now?
The stars, like what I actually talked about on stage that then was right there. Where would it be? Downloads, I guess. Of course, it's going to hide for me now that we're live here on camera. I got this version, I guess. No, I don't. Never mind. I guess Spirit doesn't want me to show it to you.
Maybe you'll have to
say. Try downloads. I found it. Ba-boom. Okay.
There we go.
There we go. Oh God, the ring light. But this is what I was talking about on stage, because to those of you that are the sacred geometry heads out there, yeah, the guy's the real deal. If you fold a star down on itself, if you fold the 5-pointed star down on itself, it's actually half of an icosahedron. And these are the downloads that come to me, and this is why I process these angles, these angel angles, all of this, all these other versions of myself, all of these conversations that I have, because I get mathematical proof. I get mathematical proof over and over again. I mean, even the diamond light that me and you have spent years talking about. And once again, another thing that me and you processed at the same time, when I broke down actually doing the math on the structure of this, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, having the number 6 times 72, 72 times 6 happens to be 432. When I got to that, I was just like, there's no way. There's no way. And like, I literally go, Alexa, what's 72 times 6? And she's like, it's 432. You figured it out. Congratulations. So it's like, how does theory become law when we have a mathematical formula? And these are mathematical formulas, my family. But to see what I said on stage with these stars as the example, and then to like weeks later go see Doctor Strange and what these stars stacked actually meant. And I know I said I'd give everybody a week. Spoiler warning, I talked about the stars. Big whoop. You should have seen it opening day. Anyways, we'll be talking about it more on the Galactic Tarot channel Saturday, Sunday, whatever. Next strong, because we don't celebrate weeks anymore. But yeah, the more I sit with all this stuff, the more I find impossibility in the mathematics that has to be beyond a pattern. It's law. It's spiritual law. When you find these mathematical formulas, and when I work with these shapes and work with these numbers and work with these things, my brain, it's not a maybe on a Tuesday. My brain feels like it's functioning better. My brain, like, it's almost like thought. Like, why would we do a puzzle? We work on puzzles because it's making the mind work. It's mind, body, soul. Yeah. So it's like, as I work on these aspects and these formulas and all of this stuff, I feel myself using more complicated words. And then I feel like I actually notice I'm getting to better places and staying calmer, staying more patient, being more loving, doing all these things that are coming from the work that we're all doing. And you do it your way, I do it my way. For me, it's numbers, shapes, and learning how to work with all this stuff and archetypes, because I think that they're all connected, and I find how they're all connected. So I'm so excited to just talk about more and more of this, because it's like every time I speak, there's like another like 10 things coming in. Like even just this whole like Nikola Tesla. We all love Nikola Tesla. And if you don't, then I'm sorry, you're in the wrong YouTube channel. Like I was just processing this through this. Once again, a distortion. Is it shadow or is it light? These fox beings that whether you're in Japan, Korea, or China, some of them consider it a god, some of them consider it a demon, and some of them are like, whatever, we'll take them or leave them. You pick whether you like them or not. So it's just like this whole area of the world. And then I'm sitting with these fox beings because I work with them, because they're some of the archetypes kind of like, what's the best way to say it? umbrella out. Like basically there's certain archetypes that are connected. And I sit with this archetype, then I'm like, wait a minute. They're only shown with 3, 6, or 9 tails. And like, that's the whole Tesla. Follow the 369. Find the connection between the 369. And every time I turn on Instagram or YouTube or this thing or that thing, people are like, I figured it out. It's one of those things that like, you figured it out for you. Because like my figuring out the 369 for me is like I'm sitting with these kitsune and I'm just like, this is crazy, but it's everywhere. So I'm excited to talk more about mathematical formulas and the application of them and how to use them and the new ones that continue to come in every single day.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be fun. And I know that, just so everyone knows, there's tons of bonuses, about $300 worth of bonuses.
Nice.
And all sorts of things as pass holders. So if you want to do that, I highly recommend it. If you want to bring a friend or buddy up, we have the Guardian Angel Pass. It's fun. So you can bring in not two for one, but it's a discount. The other thing I want to share really quick is this afternoon, I was on Clubhouse. I did a Magdalene Monday room, and I did about 3.5 hours of angelic activations, and those you can grab. And the reason I say that is because we were disentangling and integrating so much off this eclipse, and it just was immediately just evident that I had to jump on Clubhouse with this type of harmonic. So for anybody who wants to do that, just get in touch with me. You can find me in the Angelhood. You can find me at the Hug Angel on Instagram, and I'll let you guys know how to get there, or at the Hug Angel in Clubhouse, and look for my Magdalene Monday, because it's so much toning. I haven't done that much toning for that many hours straight. Yes. It was ridiculous. And I can only say there was a reason.
More important now than ever.
Yeah, it was
really
to prep us, in my opinion, for what is coming this coming end of week, or however you want to word it.
And it's nervous system stimulation also.
Well, yeah,
the thyroid and what's going on in the throat. It's the toning now for me is more important than it's ever been in my life.
Yeah. I mean, Yeshua came in, the Magdalene came in, so many of the Angelics and Kuan Yin came in. I mean, there's so much going on. So it was really interesting. Yeah, really.
Sorry, Kuan Yin's my jam. I get it.
Yeah, and she doesn't. I would say she demonstrates through me with the light language I do. I can hear almost like an Asian energy in it sometimes. So I know she's in there, but I weave them all together. So it's not just her, but this was like literally a message for one particular individual. So it was really interesting for that to happen. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure everyone's invited there. Anything else, Alexander, you'd like to share before we wrap up? I didn't want to keep you longer.
I'm good to wrap. I'll go make dinner so I can start my fast.
Yep.
Yeah, that feels complete.
Good. All right, everyone. Well, we love you, and we didn't have a chance to get to all your questions as we might do normally, so definitely bring them into the summit, and we'll get to them there. Hopefully that would be the intention.
Yeah, we can do a more like angel Q&A next time.
Yeah. We love you so much. Thank you for being here, and tell your friends. By the way, if you want to be an affiliate for the summit, you can find it when you scroll to the page at the bottom. Sign up, tell your friends, and you can offset the cost of your pass that way if you need to do that. Okay, everyone, I think we'll end that for now. Thank you, Alexander, so much. The link, again, is in the description inside YouTube here. If you need it here, I will post it here in the comments once we go off air, so you can come back and find it there. And we love you all. Thank you again. Mwah. Big hugs. Bye, Alexander. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye,
Love you.
Love you. Bye.